Come here often. I don't know what you did, but you just released a source flood. I thought I'd come and see what all the fuss was about. Should have known you were getting yourself into trouble. Looks like the big moment has finally arrived. I will do everything I can to support you, Godwoken. I will pray for you. I think you'll need it. Don't underestimate the power of true prayer. This is a place of incredible power where a single prayer holds the weight of thousands. Your heart and soul will fill as quickly as they're drained. Consider it a taste of your divine future. The people will pray for you. In turn, they'll trust you to do right by them, as I'm trusting you to do now. Of course, it's up to you whether or not to listen. I know how I'd respond, but you do you.
Melody wearily chuckles to herself, then bows her head in a show of unexpected but sincere reverence.
Looks like my investment's paid off after all.
I need worship only one divine, and I believe she stands before me now.
You've shown me kindness in the face of my sins. My worship is the least I can offer.
I've always preferred to be the one reaping the attention, but you've turned the tables. I suppose it's only right, seeing as how a new divinity may stand before me.
Now go. Rivellon needs a new divine.
You see a grinning squirrel looking up at you. The cat seems pretty pleased with itself too. The squirrel lays his hand on you, and a strange feeling ripples through your body. A sense of power. Your mind opens to the possibilities of new magic.
Godwoken. Dallis told me about you. You must be as hard as diamonds, and twice as bright, to have come so far. Your divine welcomes you.
The divine you thought dead lords over the chamber from a granite throne. He moves to speak, but it's Riedeman's voice that next pierces the air.
What a twist.
Lucian frowns at Riedemann, then bestows a benevolent smile upon you. All that you know of him flashes across the panorama of your mind.
I underestimated you, Godwoken. You have proven to be a formidable foe. You have my respect.
Respect? Indeed.
I shall tell you the tale as I told it to Lucian. Long ago, the scholar Fane discovered that the veil between the world and the void was made of source. Our 7 lords desired this power.
Of course.
Silence, slave. Our king forbade the 7 to reach for this power, but they didn't listen. Instead, they rebelled and sent the king and his people into the void.
With the source they stole from the veil, the 7 created the races so they would have worshippers.
The 7 made a mistake. By taking its source, they tore a hole in the veil, and it is through this hole that the void finds its way into our world.
The 7's lust for power let in the void. Our goal is to close the hole they created, to restore the source to the veil.
Really? I'm shocked.
Shut your mouth, Godwoken. I tell you the truth. I seek vengeance against the king and against the 7.
There is more, but she hesitates to share it. Then she decides that she must.
I was a child when the God King tore my family apart. I was purged of source and left to rot in a putrid tomb. A child. He never even looked for me. He never even looked for her!
Dallis, control yourself. Our purpose transcends your personal wounds.
Yes. You are right.
While Dallis sought the Aetheran, I started draining the gods of their source.
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
One more word from you, and I shall use the leash.
She raises what looks like a leash. A chuckle emerges from beneath Vredeman's hood. The chuckle becomes a guffaw, booming and hateful. Dallis flicks her wrist, and nothing happens.
Oh, Dallas. Sweet, simple Dallas.
How? What? The leash is cut!
A bright observation from a bilious imbecile. You know people often become sloppy when they're close to achieving their dream. You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me, pretending to be your slave.
Kill him.
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon, and don't look so surprised, as if I would allow a bone bag to enslave me. Me! Yes, I am the one true king of the Source. He who shall be God of the Source. It is time for my divinity! Or did you really think I'd play slavishly along with your ridiculous scheme, Dallas? Yes, I played my part of the servile stooge. But know this. It was only about the power of divinity.
Kill him now.
Too late, you moldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King, I call on you! You dared interrupt Brachus Rex. How novel. Who are you to challenge the Source King? Ah! You were the fetid dirt on my boot. You are nothing at all. I am the Source King. I shall rule. The God King hears my call. He sends a companion worthy of my power. Come to your father, my friend. Come to the Source King.
The Source King of Legend lies dead once more, perhaps even for good. Dallis, badly weakened, looks to you.
The future of all that is depends on you, and you alone.
You think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted, and of the good and the evil on both sides. You think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their stolen world. You look at the source around you. The power is immense. Divinity at your fingertips. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left behind, and of those you met along the way, who stood by you or against you. It's time to choose your fate, and the fate of all you hold dear. What shall it be? Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity? Melody stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Let an eye fool, Your Holiness. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time.
She turns to you, arms crossed, and grins.
Look at you. Magnificent. Don't I know it? Let's hope it pays off.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it, but instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. I sacrificed much, but I'd give even more to see you become exactly what you've become. Soon, I'd like to have a little chat about something you can do for me. But I believe that can wait. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a level 300. I'd say we've earned it. And when the time comes, I'll come find you, Your Holiness.
Well, if it isn't the new Divine gracing me with her presence. How honored I am. That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me, have you ever heard of Gustavgen? No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most, but myself naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world. Beings that feed on minds. I intend to seek them out. This Gustavgen seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world, when there's another for the taking?
The squirrel smiles, nods, and pats you on the leg.
Amazing I'm still here. That we're still here. That Lucian... Well, that relationship always was complicated, wasn't it? You're so much like him. My instincts tell me to kneel to the new Divine. I've done so before, after all. But I can't drive myself to do it again.
Gareth beams. For the first time, he is his own man. Yet his enthusiasm is not a man's, but a child's.
A friend, yes. That I know how to be.
For a moment, his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of malady and magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then in the present once more, and smiles at you.
Friends. I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man. I just don't know who that man is. And so I find out. My goal is to have a goal, if that makes sense at all. And if it doesn't, well, that's all I've got.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always be an ally to those that carry swords, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old, and so, as always, I am at the ready.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins.
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the godwoman. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm, she was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves, and dwarves all rallied to her banner. The Great Allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the Void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, I was freed of the God King's terrible tyranny. I avoided an eternity of pain and suffering. Now I fight for the other side. Now, I fight for the divine.
With a new divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally. But she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did.